Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of August 16th through the 22nd. And during that time, we first have a waxing crescent moon for the first part of the week. That's a time of heightened senses, a good time to execute the things that we were starting for the new moon, or get those things started or continue along your way with those if you've already started them. But a good time to live up to our expectations and intentions. We have our first interrupter that comes in with the first quarter moon on the 20th, and that can be a time when you might feel impatient and a little impulsive. Maybe your mind's a little active. It's hard to get things done. So see that as a time to either control and dominate those impulses or just take a little breather, a little easier day that week. That comes in on the 20th. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we are moving through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aquarius. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't here on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading is that your hard work is paying off. Okay, let's see what the Aquarian Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling the tarot, usually this would be a time when I would talk about a fun weekly reminder that I like to pop in here. But this week, I do need your help on something. I'm thinking about doing the occasional live stream, maybe coming up in the next couple of months as the weather starts to kind of go into fall mode and it's not as fun to be outside, but where I would just do free 1 or 2 card readings where you guys can ask a question and I'll do a free reading for you. But I'm wondering what night of the week and also what time of day is best for you. Are you a late nighter? Are you a morning person? But just let me know, when you might be able to participate in a live stream. So I'll take everybody's answers into consideration when I'm just trying to schedule those. So we've already got cards flying out, so we'll start to take those. But let's get into this reading. Aquarius, August 16th through the 22nd. Oh, a couple of cards coming out here. Anyway, your hard work is paying off. First card that came out for you that we will take here for your present energy is the Page of Swords. So it looks like your hard work's paying off and you're also communicating or thinking about things in a new way, in a new manner. So that's always a good thing, is that as we learn things and as we grow, we start to communicate differently or think differently, and that's a good thing. It looks like you maybe have had some sort something that you've been working on, and it does seem to be paying off. Or your current situation is that you are dealing with a little bit of anxiety over it. So it might just be, when we do new things, it can be very anxiety ridden to speak up. Maybe if you're not a person that has been speaking up and all of a sudden that's something that you're working on for yourself, that it does bring a lot of anxiety to go, oh, I have to speak up now. So whatever that is, or whatever new way of thinking that's causing you a little bit of anxiety, or a new way of communicating that's causing that, just kind of stick with it and try to push through it, and maybe you can combat that anxiety part of it. At the root of your situation is the Six of Pentacles. So some kind of giving and receiving here, and this could just be that you are this could be just a communication thing. Many times this is a card of Pentacles, so it's about charitable giving, that sort of thing. But at the root of this, because of it's, about communication, it could be about literally about communicating back and forth and giving and receiving. And where are you, kind of in that cycle right now? Are you better at giving those sorts of communications or receiving, or are you learning something about that? But it seems like you are hard at work on some sort of kind of exchange about communication at this point. In your recent past here is the Hanged Man. So this makes perfect sense, because anytime we're trying to make changes, it comes because we've had a perspective change, and maybe it's just someone, somehow it's been brought to your attention, you need to speak up more. And I'm using that as an example. It could be anything that you're trying to change about yourself, but some sort of situational or awareness changes come about that makes you think, oh, I need to change this about myself, and life would be better if I did that. So whatever that is, you've got that awareness, and now you're trying to make those changes, and it's hard. It's causing you a little frustration and anxiety, because it's not easy to do, but look, it is paying off, and it is hard work to do. Anytime we're all making changes with ourselves like that. What is on your mind this week is the Nine of Pentacles. So this is about enjoying the fruits of your labor a little bit. Now we also have two nines. So, nines are about when we're making progress. You're kind of flip-flopping between the I'm nervous about it, but I'm also enjoying that I'm being really good about it, right? So kind of going back and forth between both of those emotions, like you're proud of yourself for making that change, but it's also scary to make that change, which is totally normal when we're making changes. What is just ahead of you, Aquarius, is the Magician card. So here is the Magician helping you manifest and telling you, you're doing these changes to manifest the thing, to live your life in the way that you want to live it. And which element would you choose? I mean, it seems like if you're working on swords, and I feel like it's almost the Magician saying, look, you've almost got this down pat. What's next? What's next, or how does this fit into your big picture? If you're learning to communicate better, what your wants and needs are, what's next for you? Maybe, you pick up another element here to work on. So think about what that might be, because that is really what the Magician is asking you here at the end of the week. So what is in your advice position is the King of Cups, which is about just maintaining your emotional stability and being knowledgeable, when you do have a feeling pop up, to understand, what is that feeling and why are you feeling it? Just to kind of ask yourself that question briefly, or more intently if it's not something that you normally do, but also to be understanding of the emotions of all of the people around you or anybody involved in this situation. So that's really where the royalty comes in. It's not only concern for themselves, but concern for the whole, concern for their constituents and the people around them as well. What is beyond your control this week is the World card, which is like, this is our perfect balance, happy ending card. I mean, I feel like you do conquer whatever this thing. Your hard work is paying off, even though you might still be feeling anxious about it and it's a little scary to do. But anytime we're trying to do new things, that's just the way it is. But we make those changes, and even though they might feel a little uncomfortable, other times it's like, oh, this is second nature. So the more you do it, the more you get into just enjoying the fruits of the labor of trying to make that big change, right? What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid, is the Fool card. So either your secret desire is to be off on this new journey, to be this new person that you're turning into because of the small change, or you're trying to avoid that. I hope it's the latter. I mean, I feel like anytime we're making change, it is kind of a new journey for us. And again, here's the Magician saying, what is next? So it might even be about that. You're conquering this thing, your hard work's paying off, you're getting to where you're better at communicating, maybe your wants and needs. Again, that's an example. Whatever it is that you've been working on and you're better at, here's the Magician saying, what's next? What is the new journey for you? So ask yourself if you're ready for the new journey, and maybe you're trying to avoid that altogether right now. There is no right or wrong answer for that. Just ask yourself, answer it, and then understand your personal answer. In your outcome here, Aquarius, is the Eight of Cups, which is about moving and just moving into your future calmly and exploring new things, which could be, maybe it's the cups that you pick up here from the Magician, and you say, well, now that I'm communicating better, let me explore these emotions. Let me make sure I'm understanding new emotions, make sure I'm creating new emotions and feeling new things. So whatever that might be for you, make sure that you take off into the future and do that. Is it this new journey? Could be, perhaps. So think about these last three cards here. I think those might be very important. But, yeah, you've got a touch of anxiety about this change that you're making, and that's quite normal. What is hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck is the Six of Wands, which is about kind of being congratulated and kind of a little, like public approval or kind of an attaboy about something. And that's not really what you're getting this week, and maybe actually not even why you're doing this. You might just be doing this to just improve yourself, to be better. We also, that makes us have two sixes here, so you may want to look up angel number 66, see if that has any bearing on anything that you are going through this week, Aquarius. Well, I was going to shuffle, but a card came right out. Final message card for you, Aquarius, is to reflect on your truth. And this card just leapt right out. So reflect on your truth. What is it? What are you learning right now? What are you trying to change and grow from? And maybe just a little bit of reflection on that might also quell some of that anxiety. And it could be anything, like I said, different Aquarians will be working on different things. It looks to be involved with your way of thinking and your communicating. but that could be so many different things, about a way of thinking. It might just be being more positive, in the way that you think through things. All right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Aquarius, and the card that you get is the card that says Rebel. It's time to celebrate the fact that you don't fit in. Stand on your own 2 feet. Well, okay, maybe you don't fit in. Maybe you do things a little bit differently than others. Stand on your own 2 feet. And if that means standing up to this anxiety and working through whatever it is that you've been working on, then go ahead and do it. I think, again, your hard work is paying off. You're becoming a different person because of it, because of whatever you're trying to change. And what's next? Just ask yourself, okay, once I get this thing down that I feel like I'm working on, what is next on the horizon? Making an improvement in your inner self, can always come with the next thing. What's the next thing that you would like to improve? So, Aquarius, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there's something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, are there personal growth things that you've been working on that are causing a little bit of anxiety, but also you're being rewarded because it's working, and you're kind of feeling that both edge of that? I'd be very comfortable to know. And also, do you feel like that's going to open the door for some new journey for you? That would be interesting too. Compare notes from different Aquarius. So thank you so much for being here. And if you like my reading style, Aquarius, hitting like and subscribe is really kind of you. It does help my channel, and I appreciate that so much. But thanks so much for being here. Good luck with this, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.